morning from Hue, guys. I first want to show you the lobby of our hotel. It is a really fancy and shiny hotel. There is even an aquarium. You can see it here. We just managed to find our guide, and so the previous video was interrupted. Let me show you also the restaurant, if it is already open. I think it is. And also the weather changed quite dramatically. Yesterday when we arrived it was around 35 degrees and it was cloudy, and just 20 minutes later after checking in it started to rain, and it is raining like this since yesterday evening. Now the temperature is 20 degrees, so it dropped 15 degrees just overnight, and obviously we will have our first rainy day here. We are now on a boat over the Perfume River.
That is the Dongba market. Yeah, look at it on the right, so that is the Dongba market. Right, and in front of that is the two big bridge. Each one of the French architecture. It looks like the April Tower in the French. Why that? Because in the past, when the French were occupation Vietnam, so the bridge were made by the April company in the France. So that's why. And that is a local food restaurant.
So our guide explained us that the river is called the Perfume River because there are some trees around the banks which have very aromatic flowers, and these blossoms fall into the river and are then thrown onto the beaches, and from there came the name. We are now going to a pagoda which is located somewhere near the river. That's why we need the boat. We just arrived at the pagoda. It is the oldest pagoda in the Hue city. Definitely looks ancient, and now we will get some more information about it. Here is a closer view of the pagoda. Also front view.
Lucky number. The number for the king. Yep. So ladies and gentlemen, we are standing in the on the Ha Ke Hill. This is the holy hill in the He city. Ha is mean river in Vietnam. Ke is mean foggy, cover the mountain in that area. Ha Ke Hill is mean when you standing in the top of the hill, you can see a beautiful river and beautiful mountain with a foggy cover, right? And on the top of the Ha Ke Hill, so that is the Thiên Mù Pagoda. Thiên Mù Pagoda is the oldest pagoda in the He city to the end of southern Vietnam. This pagoda was built in 1601 by the Nguyen Hoàng Lord, the first lord of the Nguyen dynasty. You know, Nguyen dynasty, they have two states. There were two states, Nguyen Lord and Nguyen Emperor. Symbol of the longevity, long life. The symbol of the long life, the symbol of the lucky in past examination. That's why, you know, before the children past examination, so they go to the pagoda or go to the temple.
Our guide explained us that this tower has 7 stories because 7 is a lucky number for the Buddhists, because when Buddha was born he walked 7 steps, and that's why they consider the number 7 as a lucky number, and that's why this tower has 7 stories. And the turtle that we saw is a symbol of longevity.
This side of the temple gate, you can see
Now we are going to enter the main courtyard.
oh, Father God is mean the protection God. Who will protect them? The temple. And yeah, and look at on the left and on the right. So his face really friendly. Yeah, hungry. If you do a good
These
thing
are
in
the
your,
guards of the
your
temple.
life, you will have a. When you look at this lady, so
Here is the main courtyard.
That is, it
Also
came into
well
being in
maintained.
early 20th century. That is a mixture of religion.
And in a moment we will enter the temple itself. The situation here is like with most Buddhist temples so far. You need to take your shoes off to enter, which frankly I don't want to do because these are not so interesting for me, so I will try to show you what is possible to be shown without entering directly. And after that we will slowly continue to our next object, which should be the citadel, I think. Some more footage from the courtyard and signing out for now. I accidentally found another courtyard behind the main temple, so let's see what we have here. By the way, I'm not sure if you will manage to understand everything that our guide says, because his English is a little bit strange. So this pagoda was built in 1601, that's the year, so it is around 4 centuries old and the oldest in Hue. This area, I'm not exactly sure, but maybe is used by the locals also as some kind of a park, because there are quite a lot of people here. Maybe not all of them are tourists, I'm not sure. Generally, this is the look of it. I see some kind of monument in the distance,
From here,
which I will try to show you guys in a minute. This is how it looks from close. I am not sure exactly what this is. Okay guys, enough from here. We'll see you on the next object. We have now entered the citadel, which is our next object. The walls are maybe not clearly visible from here, but we will get closer in a bit. Meanwhile, some information. The citadel was built between 1802 and 1833. This was before the French occupation, and at that time this city, Hue, was the capital of the kingdom, and the whole city was inside the citadel where we currently are. The total length of the walls is around 10 kilometers, so it is quite big, and that's why it took 30 years to be finished. Now when we get closer to the main objects inside the citadel, I will continue. We have reached a very big square with very big Vietnamese flag on the right, and on the left we have one of the entrances, one of the gates going into the citadel, the inner part of the citadel. There are a total of 10 such gates, and they are really beautiful. You can really see how it took them so many years, around 30 years, to finish all of this, because it is quite impressive.
Similar.
Okay, a little correction. This entrance is in fact entrance to the so-called Forbidden City, which is the place where the king lived. That's why it was forbidden for anybody else to enter. And we are now about going to enter it. The Forbidden City has total coverage of around 84,000 square meters, so it is quite big. We will now see what's going on inside. We have now officially entered the Forbidden City. This is the back side of the gate. And this is how the entrance looks. A lake with some fish in there, quite big in fact, and quite a lot of it. Some of these fish are really huge. The dragon is a symbol for the king and for the military. And as you can see, this dragon has 5 fingers, which is king's dragon. But if you compare here, the dragon here has only 4 fingers, which is for the military. And now we are going to enter the king's palace. Here, guys, you can see something that they call a unicorn, Vietnamese unicorn. It is different from our, because our is horse based, and this one is a combination of a lion and a dragon. Interesting interpretation. We are also closing in on the palace. In a bit I will show it from inside. This palace is called the Tai Hua Palace, and it was built in 1805, and it was renovated, restored and opened for tourists just a few years ago. That's what our guide told us. We are already inside the palace. Here is how it looks. Very beautiful, everything. Not everything, but most of it seems to be very well decorated wood. Also there are quite a lot of people, but this is expected. This is a front view. This is another section of the palace. This is an original column from the palace. It is quite huge, entirely from wood. We are now approaching the theater. This is the oldest theater in Vietnam and it was built in 1826. You can see it. We will also probably be able to see it from inside. This is the well which was used to get water for cooking. Here is the inside of the theater. Another part of the complex. With very beautiful garden. So in fact this is the garden where the king and his wives were walking and chilling. Another point of view of the garden, and then we are slowly going to the library.
In this place. And normally when the king is walking in this way, in this place, so they will swim together in that area. So that's why the king have many children.
So this is the library. We will try to also see it from inside.
Yes. Against PSG. Yes. And they lost.
Another point of view of the inside. And of course some souvenir shops. So this is another palace which was built later, and the architecture is a mix of Western and Vietnamese. In fact, the palace was destroyed later after the Second World War, around 1947, but few years ago the government decided to rebuild it, and here is the result. We will see it soon from inside also. Here is how the inside looks. Another room here. It's a dining place. And generally this is the inside. Comparing it with European palaces that I have seen, it is not something very impressive, but yeah, it is quite original, so that's about it. Here is some closer footage from outside to show you the details. From outside it is indeed spectacular, because the mix of French, Italian and Vietnamese architecture is really interesting. Our guide told us that the king at that time visited several European countries, so several European palaces, and after that decided to build this palace, which will be mixed between all of this, of what he saw in Europe and what is locally used. A little bit wider field of view, and we continue to the next one. This is the Dongba market, which is the oldest market here
with some seed,
in
with a
Hue.
longer seed, and that's the local seed.
As you can see, there is a mixture of different goods. You have food, you have some jewelry, and you have
Everything you like,
almost everything that you can imagine. This is a different section, which is mostly for clothing and toys and such things, shoes, as you can see, even food. You can also see some food preparation here.
Uống à, hay mua điếu đấy.
We are approaching some fruit and vegetable section.
Right. Different, yeah, different noodle. Tropical fruits, right? Dragon.
What is
Dragon
this? This is
fruit.
dragon?
Yeah, dragon fruits.
Aha, dragon fruit.
Yeah, dragon fruit, orange and star apple. That is a star apple.
Okay.
No, that is the sugar apple.
We will now go to the tomb of one of their kings. I will show it when we are closer. Here you can see some information about this object. It is the burial place, place of worship of Emperor Tuduk and Queen Letienam. They ruled for 36 years between 1848 and 1884. And this is the last emperor before the French occupied the country. So they have great respect to this king, because after the French occupied the country, they did not remove the local kings, but they were just puppet kings. They were practically ruled by the French. So they don't have respect for the other kings from the same dynasty after this one, who is the last independent king. So this looks beautiful, and soon we will go further to see what we can find.
I met the poem, Swiss poem, my local flower in the summer, right?
Another view on this island that we see. The king was hunting, and from here started the boat that was transferring him. There is also a lot of big fish here.
Thank you very much. So trop belle.
We are now close to the tomb of the king. This is how it looks.
So, ladies and gentlemen, so this is the courtyard where we can see statue of the Sifu Mandarin, Kung Fu Mandarin, horse elephant. Why we have this statue, the statue of the army.
So interesting fact about this king is that he had 104 wives, but he did not have a single child, just because he had some kind of illness which prevented him from having kids. And these two columns that you see, one on the right, and I will show you now the one on the left, are inscripted with the history of the wife of the king. Usually this is done by one of his sons, but as he did not have any, it was done by one of his wives. This is how the tomb itself looks. I will now show it from the inside also.
Tu peux envoyer une flèche toutes les 20 secondes après.
So the symbol of longevity,
T'arrivais, on se mettait en
long life.
En fait, on balançait tous les outils comme ça dans le vent, en boucle. Et après, on allait en mid-lane. Et si
Yeah.
il se faisait moyen.
Not finished. Green.
Let me show you the column itself from a little bit closer.
And all the way we can see there are many symbols of longevity.
So guys, a little bit of correction. What we saw the two columns before, this is not the tomb. We are now entering the tomb. Sorry for that mistake. This one should be the tomb itself. As you can see it, people are leaving aromatic sticks to commemorate the king. And this is definitely a sarcophagus, so we are now at the right place. So this was the palace of the king, and after that, after he died, it was converted to a temple where people can worship him. But it was heavily damaged by the humidity during the years after that, and now restoration works are ongoing. Here is also some kind of monument of the Kung Fu soldier. Let me show it from inside. This is what we can see from the palace. The temple that we are seeing was built to worship the wives of the king. You can see how it looks from the inside. Let me show it to you.